What's up, my friends? David Moss Jr. here, and in this video we're going to be doing a full setup, demo, and review of the all-new ModTub Cold Plunge and the brand new ModTub Hot Plunge. That's right, we're going to have two separate plunges, one for cold and one for hot. So we're going to go ahead and review it, and let's get right into it. Full disclosure, ModTub did send me both of these to do a review on. However, I am not obligated to say anything specific, which is exciting. They said they want an honest review from me, which is great. They did, however, offer a $100 discount code that you can use if you decide to purchase one, and that discount code will be MOSS, M-A-U-S. You can use that discount code and save $100 off of your purchase if you do decide to go with one. But now let's go through these and see if they're even worth purchasing. So the first thing I want to go over, as always, I like to go over the size and the specs of these coolers. So these are Grizzly coolers. They are 100-gallon coolers or 400 quarts, and they are monsters. They're so much bigger than I thought. When I first saw pictures and videos of this, I'm like, man, how comfortable can that really be? How much size can there really be in that? However, I am actually shocked. There is a lot more room than I thought, and we're gonna go ahead and measure these. So the first thing we're gonna look at is how wide is this? So from handle to handle, we're looking just under 55 inches. And from the depth, we're looking just under 32 inches. That's the external dimensions. Now let's look at how high it is off the ground. We're looking at about 29 inches, and with the lid shut, we're looking at just under 32 inches. Now, what I like about this cooler is that it's 2 inches thick of polyurethane injected insulation. So this is gonna do a great job insulating the water, whether we go with hot or we go with cold, and I'm really excited about that. There's also these safety latches, which will keep the lid on nice and snug. Now let's talk about the internal dimensions. So we're looking at just over 43 inches long and just over 24 inches or 2 feet wide. From the base to the top, we're looking at just under 25 inches. So we went over the dimensions of the cooler itself, but it is going to be important to take into consideration a little extra room off the side where your hoses are going to connect into your cooler, as well as on the back side. It is recommended to have 12 inches of clearance on the back side of the cooler, so you have room for your filters, for your electrical boxes, and your hoses, as well as if you do go with the chiller, obviously on the Cold Plunge, you're going to want to have another about 20 inches off the side here, so you have room for your chiller and you have room for the hoses to connect into the cooler. Now, if you go with just the heater, you're going to need a little bit of room, but not a full 20 inches just for your hoses to come out, and we'll get to that in a second. So we've talked about the sizing. Now let's talk about the weight. When these came, they came on 2 crates. They were massive, a lot bigger than I thought they were going to be. These coolers alone weigh 91 pounds dry and 750 pounds full of water. So you want to make sure that if you're placing this outside on a deck, that it is going to be able to withstand 750 pounds of pure weight in one solid spot. And like I mentioned earlier, they'll hold about 100 gallons of water. Now, before I set it up, I do want to go over pricing as well, and that is subject to change, I'm sure. Right now, the Cold Plunge costs $3,000 with everything you need. It does come in the standard color of gray. Any additional colors like these are going to cost an extra $200, and it comes with a standard 1/4 horsepower active aqua chiller, which I'm a massive fan of the active aqua chillers. If you've ever seen any of my videos or my DIYs, the active aqua chiller is always my first recommendation, so I'm excited that that's what they're using because it is a very good chiller in my experience. You can upgrade to have a cold and hot system all in one cooler, which costs an extra $500. So for $3,500, you can have a cold/hot plunge. And then on the contrary, if you decide to go with just the hot plunge, it's $2,500, and it comes with a heating mechanism that can take that temperature up to 104 degrees Fahrenheit or 40 degrees Celsius. And then back to the active aqua, this is capable of reaching temperatures of 39 degrees Fahrenheit or just under 4 degrees Celsius. I have to mention Celsius because I do have a lot of viewers that like to hear Celsius, so I got you guys. Now, I did originally question the 1/4 horsepower chiller just because I'm here in Florida and I know it gets really hot here, and I've never used any less than a 1/2 horsepower chiller, but I've also never had 2 inches of thick insulation like we have on these coolers to play with, so I'm excited to see how both of these are going to operate in this heat. And then one final thing to consider about the specs is that it will pull about 7 to 9 amps when everything is operating, depending on if you have the cooler going or if you have the heater going, and that's just a standard 110 volt outlet. It's very easy to just plug in and get cold or hot. So now let's go ahead and break down what all this comes with. So you're going to get your big beautiful cooler, you're going to get your big beautiful chiller, you're going to have a pump, which is awesome, a very nice power strip with GFCI, which is great, and then all of the tubes it takes to get your chiller and your pump and everything set up. And everything's very easily marked, so this looks like it's going to be an easy setup. You do have a nice little paper manual that'll walk you through exactly how to set it up. There's also a QR code which we can scan, and that'll walk you through a video on exactly how to set this up. Now I did get some of the accessories, so let's go ahead and check those out too. So we also got the optional step that has a drawer that's pretty cool, and it looks like it's extremely easy to set up. You have these legs, you literally just pop them in there, push them in, very easy. And then the drawer just slides in here in the bottom. And you've got a step with a little pull-out drawer. I guess you could keep a skimming net or filters or anything under there, which is really cool. And it's got a nice non-slip padding on top, so that's nice. It just makes it easier for my kids and my wife to get up and get into the cooler. I also got a box that says filter, maintenance package, and accessories. So let's pop these open and see what's in them. Oh, cool. So filter was pretty obvious. That's a pretty big filter. All right, cool. So I got my filter, and then I've got my tool that makes it easier to take that filter cartridge off. Nice. Maintenance package, let's see what's in here. I assume it has something to do with maintenance. Let's see what we got. Oh yeah. So we got, looks like 4 filters and 5 filters and a full SAUNA sanitization kit, which those are cool. I don't use a ton of chemicals, but it's nice to have. Now let's pop open the accessories. This is where I'm excited to see what we got, because I have no idea. I hope I'm not cutting through anything. Oh, nice. All right, cool. Whoa, first thing to catch my eye. I love these little stainless steel cups. That's cool. Got a couple more filters. So I got filters to last me the year. This is a nice touch. So a water filter that comes, this is what you're gonna wanna use to fill your tubs up. This is gonna make the water, when you're filling up your plunges, filtered. So it's gonna keep your filters from clogging up fast. When you start with clean water, it helps you maintain that clean water. We also have, looks like a little shut-off valve, a couple connectors that we need. So these are more, not so much accessories, these are just things we also are going to need to get our setup set up. Well, speaking of setup, let's go ahead and get this cold plunge set up. Hey, Goldie girl. So one of the first things I like to do is unbox everything and make sure I have all the parts that I need. I also scan that QR code, and it's a very easy to follow short video that shows you exactly how to set it up. So I'm gonna follow along, and I'm gonna show you real quick how to set it up, because it seems extremely easy. And all the parts are already labeled, so let's just do it. All right, so on the back side here, they've already got the mount for the pump. So let's go ahead and slide that pump in there. You just slide it in. I wanna say like that. Looks pretty easy. Yep. Oh, it's already in. All right, cool. And here's my little controls. The next thing we're gonna do is take the filter. Has these 2 holes at the top. There's 2 screws already here, so we're just gonna slide that on. Man, that couldn't be any easier. On the side over here, the bottom hole, we're gonna take this little guy and turn it. We're gonna turn it to where we're gonna make it tight, because we don't want it leaking. And we're gonna just turn it right there. Hose 1, cooler to pump. We're gonna find hose 1. We got that. And we're going to connect it here. Got that. Now we're gonna connect it over here to the pump. Looks like we wanna have this one nice and snug, because there is like a little, there we go. And you want that nice and snug. You wanna make sure all these are nice and snug, actually. Definitely don't want them to be loose. Hose 2. So we take this, connect it over here to the pump. It's like really nice how everything's already done. See, there's a lot of people that do DIYs, and I do a lot of different videos on DIYs, and yeah, they're fine, and you can save a little bit of money, but man, that's really nice. It's really clean. And they've even upgraded with this little elbow here. This video has just the tube. Now it's like we're gonna connect the chiller. So we're gonna take hose 3 and plug it into this filter. We'll go ahead and do that while we're over here. All right, this next part is the electrical part. So I'm gonna try to get back in here. I went ahead and prematurely ran that in there. But now that I'm up here, this is actually where that goes. You use your very nice GFCI equipped extension cord here. And we'll get that out of the way. And you actually already have your command strips, and there's a command strip in the box. So we're gonna run this plug here, and we're gonna command strip it right in there to the box, which is awesome. So we're gonna take this, plug it into the top. Oh God, I've just connected that. Connect that. Looks like I'm gonna need a little bit of this cord here to run it out here, because this goes into the bottom of your little guy there. I'm already connected here, which is great. I can run this up in here too. All right, and then the chiller. This is always the fun part. Got it plugged in. So it looks like we've got it all plugged in. Now we can shut it, and we're good. Now you can fill it up with water. All right, well, we're completely set up. Now the next step is to fill it up with water, which I always recommend using a hose filter. And I always recommend when you use that hose filter to make sure you let the hose run through that filter for a minimum of 10 seconds. Otherwise, you're gonna fill up your plunge in the very beginning with a bunch of carbon, and it's gonna be black water, and it's not gonna be good, and you're gonna be really mad because you're gonna have to disconnect everything to drain it. So don't do that. Make sure that you let the hose run for 10 seconds, and I'll show you that in a second so that you know exactly what I'm talking about. I don't want you to make that mistake. The electrical stuff was very easy to set up. It's all on the back side there. Everything, all the wires are held nice in that little box, which is super cool. I really wanna say at this point, I'm impressed with the fit and the finish. It seems extremely easy, user-friendly, simple to set up. There was no snags at all. The video was very easy. The instructions are very easy. So setup, I'd give this a 9 out of 10 because it was really easy. You might have a question if you've never done anything like this before and you have no idea, but that's totally normal and it's not very hard to get over. So I think you got this. One last little tip before you start filling this up with water is make sure you have it exactly where you want it. Once you fill this with water, you're not gonna be able to move it. So make sure it's level, make sure it's even, make sure it's exactly where you want it. Make sure your wife or your spouse is stoked where you have it. Otherwise, it's gonna be a little bit of a problem when you have to drain it and move it like 3 inches. So just go ahead and make sure you take the time to have this thing centered and exactly where you want it. I'm gonna do that and I'm gonna fill this up. So while that's filling up, I just want to let you know it took me less than 10 minutes to set this up, and it would have taken a little bit less time had I not gone through and had to refilm all this stuff and make sure everything was looking good on the camera. It's a very simple setup. Everything comes exactly how you need it. The instructions were very simple. So I would say as far as setup and ease goes of setting this cold plunge up with ModTub, I would say that's an easy 9 out of 10. I mean, the only reason I say 9 out of 10 is because there's always room for improvement, but really I don't know what else to improve on. It was very simple to set up. Now I'm gonna fill this up, and while that's filling up, we're gonna set up this hot plunge. So for time's sake, the setup is almost identical, except you'll have your heater go here. Now I'm also thinking, I don't have it set up that way, but I'm also thinking that if you get the hot-cold combo, this is where you'll be hooking this up as well, instead of just that little elbow that goes from the pump to the filter, and then they'll have a tube that goes into either the chiller, and then you just turn the chiller off to bypass it, or you'll have a tube that just connects if you're going with just the hot tub feature. So that's your heater, that's where that gets connected. Very easy to connect, very easy. Everything else is the same as far as the electrical components go and everything like that. One more little tip, no matter where it is that you're setting up your plunge, make sure that you stop your fill line about, I don't know, 8 to 10 inches from the top, and then get in. Like, you wanna get in and see and make sure that when you get into this for the first time, you're not overflowing all over everything. Not that it's a problem, but depending on where you have it placed, if you have it in, you know, on a patio where you don't want a ton of water like rushing over and hitting your neighbors on the head or something like that, what I would do is have it filled up. I would leave about, I don't know, a shaka's distance, 8 to 10 inches, whatever that is, and then I would go ahead and get in. Woo. And this is also my first experience getting in. All right. All right, so also, just so you guys know, I'm 6'1" and about 210, 215 pounds. And other than my hat, I can easily get fully underwater. So this will be a very comfortable plunge. So, and I also noticed that me getting in here, I still have about 3-4 inches of fill up, so I can put more water in here. Now we've got our tube set up for our hot plunge, and everything is looking good. All the connections are set back there. We're filling it up with water so that we can get this bad boy fired up. I do want to also point out that you do have the option to get the cold and hot bundle, where if you see here, this is my cold plunge, but I also was able to add a heater to it, which I'm going to leave unplugged, and I'm going to turn my chiller on so that this can be my cold plunge only. But if I do ever decide that I want this to be a hot plunge as well, I can just turn off the chiller and turn on this heating mechanism. There's also an Inkbird component that you can use, which will be great for those of you who live in the snow and you want to make sure your water doesn't freeze over. You want to make sure that your cold plunge stays at a very specific temp, and what that will do is fluctuate the power between the heater and the chiller, and it'll turn whichever one needs to be turned on so that it can keep the water at the right temperature based off of your settings, which is a super cool feature. All right, my friends, today is the day we're gonna do the actual review, and we're gonna show off the use of the ModTub Cold Plunge and the ModTub Hot Plunge. Both are at the set temperature. I'm excited to get into that with you. However, I do want to take a quick moment and say thank you to HVMN, also known as Ketone IQ, for making today's video possible and for sponsoring this channel. Ketone IQ is amazing. All you have to do is take one of these little shots with you. I like to take these about 20 minutes before I get to the gym, or even 20 minutes before I start filming, because this stuff is brain fuel. It's rocket fuel for your brain. Your brain prefers ketones as its fuel. It'll use the other sources of energy such as fats and carbohydrates, but it prefers ketones. And when you take Ketone IQ, you're getting 10 grams of pure ketones in a shot. You can take it as many as you want. You can take it anytime you want. There's no stimulants, there's no sugar, there's no caffeine, there's no junk. And what I love about Ketone IQ is it's something you can enjoy, your spouse can enjoy, and even your kids can enjoy, because ketones are harmless. It's something your body actually desires. Now, in each pack, you're gonna get 6 shots. 6 shots can last you up to a week. It can last you 1 day. It depends on how many you wanna take. They're definitely best served cold. I like to take a shot right out of the refrigerator. And what I love about this is it gives me energy. It definitely helps with my focus. I can tell the difference in the gym with my athletic performance, especially when I'm going on an endurance run or bike. And one of the things I've been really using these for is appetite control. I'm trying to do a little bit more calorie restriction so I can start getting a little cut up. It's real easy as the weather starts to change to keep on eating some carbs. When I take Ketone IQ, it definitely helps suppress my appetite in a solid way without jeopardizing my performance. So I want to encourage you to go ahead and check that link out in the description below after this video for 30% off your first subscription order to Ketone IQ. You can use discount code MAUS, that's MAUS, or just use that link down below. Now let's get to the review. Let's open these bad boys up. All right, this is the moment you've all been waiting for, my actual review. So now we've had these set up. I actually had a really cool opportunity to fly out to Dallas to where ModTubs are built, meet the team, actually help build a few of these things. It was actually a really cool experience. And now that I'm back, I've got my hot plunge hot, I've got my cold plunge cold. It's time to get into both and experience both of these and give you my full review. And just to recap, to give you all of the options, ModTub gives you the option to have just the cold plunge with the 1/4 horsepower chiller, which is able to get your temperatures down to 39. They give you the option to just have a hot plunge, which gives you a heater, and that gets temperatures up to 104 degrees. However, I will tell you, this is hotter than 104 degrees. The heating mechanism can go past 104. It caps out at 109 from what I've been able to tell, but this will get really, really hot. Now, you also have the option to do both. You can have the chiller and the heater, and you can toggle between both depending on if you're looking to get hot or if you're looking to get cold. And now this is the newest option, which is the contrast therapy bundle, giving you a cold plunge that's dedicated to cold and a hot plunge that's dedicated to hot, so that you can go in each and you can get hot and you can get cold and you can get hot and you can get cold, and you can experience that contrast therapy using a hot and a cold plunge, which is awesome. So now let's get in it. All right, the first one I'm gonna get in is the hot plunge, and holy smokes. Woo, baby, that's hot. That's so hot. It's hot, it's hot, it's hot, it's hot. Oh man. Oh, that feels so good. All right, so most hot tubs are gonna max out at 104 degrees, and depending on your skin sensitivity and your ability to get in and handle hot temperatures, this can be pretty hot if you set it at 104 degrees. Now, the component this comes with is called an Inkbird, and what that does is it allows you to toggle between what temperature you want your heater to get up to. And what that'll do is it'll basically get to the temperature and turn the heater off. So if you set this at 100 degrees, if you set it at 95 degrees, if you set it at 110 degrees like me, you're gonna let that thing cap out at whatever it can get to. And I've been able to get this up to 108, sometimes 109 degrees, which is pretty hot. They don't want me to tell you that, but I'm letting you know because you're gonna experience it yourself. Now this is the thermometer that you just suction cup in here, and it doesn't suction cup that well, but it's okay. It actually sinks a little bit, so it's constantly reading the temperature. A couple things that I do want to let you know about that we talked about that I did not know. One is that back here on the lid, there's these two little black covers. Now the bottom cover, they actually pre-drill a really good hole in there, and you can take the cover off and you can actually fish through an ozone tube. If you want to put ozone in here, you can. They don't offer it currently, they're thinking about it, but it's one of those things that some people really like, some people don't care about, so it's up to you. They do go ahead and pre-drill a hole. All you have to do is pop off this cap and you have a nice little access point where you can fish the tube through. Now, first impressions being in here, I'm 6'1", 210 pounds. There's plenty of room. Matter of fact, last night, me and my wife got to experience this for the first time, and we both got in here together. She's 5 foot even, so we were both sitting Indian style with our legs crossed. We were able to both enjoy this hot plunge, and we did a little contrast therapy together, which was great. I will tell you as well, I have a little bit wider shoulders than most, and there's plenty of room to let the water hit all throughout my body without having any hot pockets or any warm or cold pockets. I'm able to let my entire body soak in this beautiful water. One small thing to take note of is if you have small children that are hanging out and playing around with this, please make sure that they're very careful with this lid. If there's a small child or a kid that's enjoying your cold plunge or hot plunge, please make sure they're very careful around the lid because that lid does have a little bit of weight, which can bring a little bit of force if it closes on you. So just be careful around the lid. Now I'm extremely hot. It's time to get cold. Oh, now this is my favorite part. People think this can be torture. Oh, I think it's just incredible, the feeling of going from hot water to cold water. Yes. So when you do contrast therapy, if you don't really understand why it's beneficial and what it does, it causes massive circulation through your body, and you can feel it when you try it for the first time. So when you start hot, what happens is your body's trying to regulate your core temperature, so it's gonna push blood out to your limbs, your hands, your arms, your legs, your feet. It's gonna move blood out to the extremities of your body so that it can regulate your temperature and keep you from overheating. Contrary to that, when you get back into cold water, your body's like, oh shoot, what's going on? So it's gonna start pulling that blood back into your core, once again, to regulate your core body temperature and to try to keep you warm, to keep you from freezing over. So when you do that and that blood is moving out and then that blood is moving in, it's really incredible in circulation, causes anti-inflammation, causes your immune system to get a little boost. There's so many incredible benefits, but it's one of those feelings that unless you've actually felt it, you won't really know what I'm talking about. You can watch all the videos in the world, but you really need to experience jumping into hot water and then immediately jumping into cold water. Obviously, I'm not a doctor or a scientist or anything like that. This is all my experience and my opinion, but you definitely want to be careful doing it. However, there are some incredible benefits, and it's one of those things me and my family, including my kids, have been really enjoying. Now, as far as the inside of the cooler goes, there's a jet right here pushing water directly at my core, and that's gonna break up that thermal layer. So when your body is in cold, stagnant water, such as an ice bath with no movement, your body's gonna regulate your body's temperature, and it's going to force the water directly outside of your skin to start to heat up just a little bit. It's not enough for you to really notice, but your body notices. But when you have cold water consistently moving that water around your body, it breaks up that thermal layer and it allows your body to get really cold and experience more benefits faster. This is a really comfortable plunge. I'm really excited with this. I didn't think I was gonna like it. I thought it was gonna be a little bit too small when I first started seeing these online, but I'm real excited to have these. I'm real excited to experience these. And at this point, I gotta say, I definitely would recommend them. Oh. Well, there's one final question that remains. Are these worth purchasing? In my opinion, I would say yes. As somebody who's an avid DIYer, somebody who's built multiple DIYs, and I've helped a ton of people out there with their DIYs, for the money, these are some really great components. These are components that I would recommend if you were going the DIY route. But if you don't want to go the DIY route just to save yourself a few $100, I would definitely have to recommend the ModTubs. I'm a big fan. I'm a fan of these Grizzly coolers. I didn't think I would be. I'm always a fan of the Active Aqua chiller. The thing is a beast and it does a great job. And I was concerned with the 1/4 horsepower chiller at first, but I'm not concerned after having these up and running for a few days. And it's been blistering hot here in October here in Florida. I'm a fan of the heating mechanism. I didn't even know what the heating mechanism was gonna be on this, and I didn't know how hot it was gonna be able to get. I'm a fan of how quiet they are. If you notice, you haven't been able to hear a fan blowing or really anything going on. These are very, very quiet. I'm a fan of the pump. I'm a fan of the filter. I'm a fan of the team. I'm a fan. I have been impressed. I didn't think I would be, but I've definitely been impressed. So if you do want to get yourself a ModTub, you can use my affiliate link down below. It will save you $100 off the purchase of a ModTub, whether you go with a cold one, the hot one, or both. And if you do decide to use my discount code MAUS, that's MAUS, it also helps support me and this channel, and I'm able to continue putting content out there. At this point, I do want to ask, if you've watched to this point, please subscribe to my channel. It means the world if you would just smash that subscribe button, hit the like button, and share this with a friend who's also into getting cold or hot. Now, my friends, I want to thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys on the next video. Have a great day, and God bless.